Note to self: pot is not legal yet.
Yes, keep that in mind. Now, do you know what contempt of Congress means? If you don't,
we went through this debate when there was the potential shutdown and whether or not we were going to spend our own money that we raised on our own issues here in the district. And mostly, it was a debate around whether or not there was going to be a violation that could be enforced by Congress. And at the time, Mayor Gray was, I think, brave to say to OMB, everyone's essential, if you remember. But
yes,
that qualified for
different.
Sending a plan, and that was different than this. This is actually doing an affirmative act where we're actually doing what we think we've been elected to do in spite of Congress saying this. This is more like the medical marijuana thing. When the medical marijuana referendum passed back in the late 90s, Congress did the same thing. They put a rider on our budget that said you are not allowed to implement that, no matter what. And the council at the time said, okay, we're not going to implement that then. And we sat on our hands for all those years.
Decade.
Yeah, and then now I think we're in a different place in the council. This is not right after the control board. This is many years later. We've had balanced budgets, and we've been able to.
But Congress has quote, the Constitution says, Congress has, quote, full legislative authority, unquote, over the District of Columbia. If you proceed with something that the Congress decides is illegal or improper, I mean, you can be charged with a federal crime. I mean, there's jail stuff. Are you willing to take that step?
Well, they would probably charge us with the Anti-Deficiency Act, which is what they talked about a couple years ago, and
is that administrative or criminal?
It has criminal sanctions.
Yes,
you can go to jail for it, and yes, I'm prepared to do that. I think here in D.C., it's time for us to continue to, increase our efforts for home rule.
In that situation, would you be represented by the D.C. Attorney General?
We would be represented probably by the General Counsel's office at the D.C. Council. We have our own lawyers.
And you might need your own personal lawyers.